Good evening, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChiara coming to you live once again from downtown Flushing, New York. And to bring you, Joe DiChiara presents How to Win at Business. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Bedrock University. Go to bedrockuniversity.com. There is no COVID-19 in our classrooms. And also brought to you by Suzuki. Handmade, custom-made COVID-19 mask, Christmas stuff, all made with love by my mom and my sister. So go to Suzuki.com. And welcome, entrepreneurs. If you don't know me, my name is Joe DiChiara. Like I said, I am a CPA entrepreneuraholic. Okay, I can't get enough of business. I love talking about it. I love doing masterminds, and I love helping new businesses start off on the right foot. And that's why I do this. I'm bringing this is like a public service announcement. That's how I treat this. This is my contribution to the world. For It just is. and you know, we have a lot of fun here. We talk about serious topics, at least I do when I'm doing this myself. When I have guests, when we do interviews, we talk about other topics related to, you know, starting, building, and managing a small business successfully. It seems like, you know, I'm talking a lot about S Corps lately, and that's not a coincidence. It's actually by design. I was asking myself, I was having a conversation with myself a few minutes ago, and I said, why? It seems like every night I'm talking about S Corps and entity creation. And then I realized that I have a whiteboard over there where I chopped up the year into quarters, and we are in the fourth quarter. And this is the quarter where the Secretary of States of all the states are getting bombarded with new corporations, new corporate filings. And it's pretty interesting because, you know, I really had no idea, but I've been actually talking to people at the Secretary of State, most recently the one in New York, and they said at this time of the year, they are swamped because for some reason, she said, and I know what it is, people want to get their entity set up before the end of the year. So if you're following me, if you're watching me and you're like, oh, here's another S Corp thing, well, tough. I'm sorry, but this is important, you know, because I believe that this one topic of being a solopreneur as a sole proprietor or an S Corp is huge. It is probably the single biggest factor in people going out of business. That's right. So tonight's training, I am going to show you how and why by turning your solopreneurship that's being taxed as a sole proprietor and turning it into an S Corp will increase your chances of success. And this isn't, you know, my opinion. This is a fact. And if anybody wants to challenge me on what I'm talking about here, like I said in other times, anybody that wants to challenge me on what I am talking about tonight, which is the benefits of a sole proprietor becoming an S Corp. If anybody would like to try to dispute what I say in any of these entity creation episodes, I will gladly bring you on my show. And this show, besides what it does on YouTube with the traffic, but I am broadcast not only in my own group with over 1,000 entrepreneurs, but in a couple of other groups that come out to well over 70,000 members. So if you think that you could come up with, if you're brave enough to come up with the facts to dispute what I'm about to say, email me, PM me, book a chat with me. I'm not going to yell at you. For some reason, people say that I scare them. I guess I have a loud voice, but I'm very passionate about this. And what I see in the community, in the business community, is that the confusion doesn't start at the entrepreneur level. And what I'm talking about, the brand new entrepreneurs that get totally confused and confounded by all of the rules and regulations. Okay, that would be logical, because somebody with no experience, with no idea what business is really all about, coming in and trying to figure it out. That's not where the confusion starts, folks. The confusion starts at the professional level, because for some reason, unbeknownst to me, and I may never figure this out, I have some ideas, but for some reason, there are CPAs, attorneys, financial planners, people that should know this, are still telling their clients that it's okay to be a sole proprietor or become an LLC, which makes no sense at all. If you're a sole proprietor and you're considering being an LLC, for legal reasons, no problem. Let's say you got a construction company or something where you're really liable, you're at risk. And you go to an attorney and they say, listen, buddy, you better be an LLC or you can lose everything. Great. But that has nothing to do with your taxes. So when you go to a tax person, and I'm talking about, when I say you, I'm talking about a new business owner that does not have any entities. They're not familiar with LLC, corporate. They don't know the difference. So if you are going to a tax professional, enrolled agent, CPA, attorney, whoever, if they are advising you to be an LLC for tax purposes, run, because an LLC is a legal protection vehicle. It has nothing at all to do with taxes. And if you don't believe me, look up what form an LLC files their tax return on, because there ain't one. There is no tax form for an LLC, because it wasn't created to shelter people from taxes. S Corps were. S Corps were created in 1958 because there was a huge gap between the corporate rich business owners and the sole proprietors. There was a huge gap. The corporations had a huge competitive advantage. So they created S Corps. And then the government dropped the ball. because they never told anybody about all of the advantages of an S Corp. They left sole proprietors uninformed, sole proprietors to figure it out themselves. Because guess what, people? If half of all the sole proprietors became S Corps, there would be a tremendous hit on Social Security. And I understand that, but that ain't my problem. That ain't my problem. But it's obvious to me, after years of research, years of trying to figure out why there's still 25 million sole proprietors, it's obvious that there's never been any kind of government or SBA or any kind of campaign to promote S Corps, which makes absolutely no sense at all to me. I mean, growing up, I remember government ads about buying milk. Okay? If you're as old as I am, it was like milk with, oh, now whole milk can kill you. But growing up, there were all kinds of campaigns on the benefits. Well, why was that? Well, it had probably something to do with the dairy industry. So, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I look at the facts, the results, and like there was a sequence of things that must have happened to get us here. And I just observed them. And what I am observing, what I've observed in this quest to find out why this doesn't add up is almost like, okay, we did that. We did a good job in 1958, but don't let everyone know. Because there's also an empowerment issue here. See, by keeping people down, by not empowering, the politicians will tell us all the time that they are for small businesses. I don't see it. I have never seen a politician create a job unless it was for one of their friends or family to come and work at the government for them. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there, folks. There's a lot of confusion. And let me get into, now that I'm done with my introduction, my long-winded introduction, let's get into what the real problem is, which I like to cover on a regular basis, because I need to be reminded of the fact that life is tough. Life is tough. I don't know where you live, but I live in Queens, New York. Okay? It ain't easy. I mean, you got to look both ways when you cross the street, even if it's a one-way street, because you might have some idiot driving the wrong way. And that's what I was taught, and that has kept me alive. And when I came across this book, The Road Less Traveled, this took a whole lot of weight off of me, because I thought I was the only one that had it tough. Life is complicated. There's no way around it. But what makes it even harder is that we go into business. So what we did was we took a convoluted, confusing, complicated world, and we just made it worse. Okay? Business owners go through all kinds of pain, suffering, confusion, and they fail. According to Forbes, 8 out of 10 businesses fail. And I believe that number is wrong. Maybe 8 out of 10 established businesses fail over the long run. And we could talk about what established means. But I think it's closer to this. My friend John Limbacher says, given enough time, they're all going to fail. I like to think that it's somewhere in between. But knowing what the real problem is gives us a real chance at solving the problem. So the real problem isn't a lack of money, business connections, a bad account. Those are valid business failure reasons for companies that are already in business for years, not startups. Those rules do not apply. If you are starting a new business, there's a whole different set of rules that apply, folks. So if you think you're going to learn how to do business by reading Inc. and Business Week and Forbes, it just doesn't work like that. If it was that simple, everybody would be able to do it. So my goal has become, with this training, with everything, with my clients, is an educational process to really try to help make business simple, fun, and profitable. So that's my story. I'm sticking with that. And tonight's training, so I'm going to go into some details, and some of this you probably heard before. But, I had a really good meeting with my business coach today, Larry Broughton, and he pointed out that, I haven't clearly identified who should be an S Corp. I'm talking a lot about LLCs and why you shouldn't be, but the fact is, who I am talking to are solopreneurs, the smallest of small business owners, and the people that are thinking about starting a business. And also, folks, for those of you that are in business but may not even realize it. Like if you're driving an Uber, if you're an Uber driver, you are a solopreneur. You are considered a business by the IRS, okay? Because you are going to get a 1099 from Uber. You can either be an employee or a subcontractor. If you're not an employee, you are a business. Very simple, okay? We don't have to go into 1099, gig workers, freelancers. Those are all just tags. Those are just names. What's important is that they're all going to file their tax return on a Schedule C, which is called sole proprietor. Gig workers, Uber drivers, people that are like Amazon affiliates. If you're an eBay vendor, and you're not incorporated, you don't have a corporation. Don't tell me you're an LLC, because this is what the IRS thinks about LLC. They don't see it. You got to tell them. Oh, and if you don't tell them, you are a sole proprietor. So you're the people I'm talking to. And I'm also talking to the accountants, the lawyers, the financial people that keep telling your clients the wrong things. You're telling them, you're giving bad advice based on information that I don't know where you're getting it from, because I have the same information. And this formula has not changed. It has not changed since I've been in accounting. This was from before I was even born. 1958, I was born in 1960. They created S Corps for sole proprietors. So let's get into the specifics. Why do S Corps? Why am I saying that S Corp's got a much greater chance of success? Here's the specific reasons. Taxes. Okay. Let's go through this again. taxes. Social Security tax. I just got off a call with a client. He's getting a 1099 for about $200,000, and he wanted to know how much he would be to pay it. So, and I took him through both case scenarios. I said, if you are a sole, hi Jess, how are you? Yes, you are the poster child for this. Okay. You are a poster child for this through no fault of your own, through no fault of your own. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I will have your corporation set up, I think, by next week. You will be an S Corp, and you already have an S Corp, but this will be another S Corp for you. So let's talk about taxes. So my client got, and most people don't get $200,000 in a 1099, but he wanted to know. So right off the bat, 200 grand. I said, let's use 12%, because after the adjustments and everything, let's say 12% in self-employment. That's 24 grand right off the bat. Now, he's also got a W-2 for 300 grand. So he's already maxed out on Social Security. So now he's going to pay another 24 grand if he doesn't do anything. Well, luckily we had set up a corporation. So what I explained to him was, okay, 24 grand just in self-employment tax, and then figure, you're at the top rate, another 56 grand in income taxes. Okay, before deductions. So that, that's a pretty big number. And so if we take that 200 grand and we put it into an S Corp, and you don't need that money, you want to keep it in the business so that you can grow it. So you don't even have to take a salary. You'll only pay the $56,000. You just saved $24,000. He's pretty happy. But now the professional, somebody from a fancy CPA firm or a lawyer's, well, you got to pay him reasonable compensation. If you're a professional and you know what reasonable compensation is, let's discuss that for a second, because I've had plenty of people come back, well, you got to give them a salary. Well, the reasonable compensation regulations were actually written for people that take too much salary, not less salary. So for all of you professionals out there that think you can't get away with doing an S Corp with zero salary, you are mistaken. It's a matter of what are the circumstances. I got a client with a $300,000 job and a side business. He does not need to be compensated. And even if he did, we would set up a salary of about, let's say, $40,000. Where am I getting that number from? Alan, if you're listening, I'm making it up, because there is nothing written in stone anywhere that tells you what reasonable compensation is. They give you guidelines. But if you're out there telling people, you're forcing what you think it is on your clients. So for all of you reasonable compensation people out there, I'll give you the same challenge. Come on my show with me and show me the proof. Show me the money. Show me the law that says that somebody must take a salary. And then if you find it, go a little deeper and tell me where does it say exactly how much. It doesn't exist, folks. So taxes, that's an extreme example. Most people might make And you got to remember that most businesses do not ever make 200,000 in a year. Most businesses gross less than 100,000 a year. So a guy making 500K can afford to pay that extra money. It's not going to bankrupt him if he paid that extra Social Security tax. But somebody making 80 grand a year that had to take 12% of that money and fork it over is just wrong. It's just wrong. And people are doing it because you professionals out there are misinterpreting rules and regulations as laws. Okay? There's rules, there's regulations, and there's laws. Okay, they're constantly being rewritten. And then we all have a chance to challenge the rules and the regulations. And I have done that hundreds of times with the IRS. Challenge what the IRS auditor is proposing. And that's the real world, folks. So that, hands down, there should be no argument that S Corps, you're going to save taxes. Well, guess what? If you're saving money in taxes, hasn't your chances of success gone up? If you have that money instead of the IRS, isn't that better for you? I had a CPA in another group do the math. Because he was challenging me on it. And he did the math. And he said, well, they're only going to save $3,900. Only. Now, this was for somebody making $60,000 a year. He said they'll only, and then after the compliance cost, that was his argument. After the compliance cost, so I asked him, what exactly are the compliance costs? The state filing fees in New York State, it's $25. I understand in California it's $800. But if you got somebody that's going to save $3,900, subtract the compliance cost, the $800 from that, aren't they still $3,100 ahead? That's just on the taxes. I mean, this isn't brain surgery, folks. This is simple. IRS protection. Sole proprietors get audited. S Corps do not. Now, again, I had wise guy in the CPA group. Oh, I got S Corps. Yeah, they get audited, but compared to sole proprietors, not even close. Not even close. Okay, so you get the added protection. So now if you make 60 grand and with, Alan's numbers there, 60 grand after the compliance cost, you're still 3 grand ahead. And now you don't have to worry about an audit, or your chances of being audited have gone down. Oh, and then I have my other friend that said, well, an audit is only a problem if you're not in compliance. Really? I wonder how many audits she has gone through. Because if anybody tells you that an audit is no problem, they're probably getting paid by you to handle the audit. So a corporation is separate from you personally. People don't understand this. When you're a sole proprietor, you go into a bank for a business loan. You're not getting a business loan. You're getting an individual personal loan because they are checking it against your Social Security number. It's all tied together. It's together. There is no separation. you want the separation from your business and your personal. Now, if you don't care about that, then stay a sole proprietor. If none of this matters to you, then stay a sole proprietor. If you don't care about that, you're overpaying your taxes, stay a sole proprietor. If you're not worried about the IRS auditing you, stay a sole proprietor. But there's more. Respect. That's right, folks. Corporations get respect in the business world. If you go to a country club, those people aren't saying, hey, I'm a sole proprietor. No, they're presidents of entities. Okay. Now, I only have a few minutes left. I even left off intentionally the legal protection. Because like I said, you can get the legal protection as an LLC. Oh, and in New York State, it costs twice as much to become an LLC than it does to become an S Corp. And I know it varies by state. But this is simple, folks. And now, if you can understand the benefits, you don't want to end 2020 as a sole proprietor. You do not want to end as a sole proprietor, because even though there's only, like a month and a half left in the year, there are things that we could do, that you could do to minimize your taxes, to lower the burden. You don't want to do it next year, because then every day that goes by, you are at a disadvantage. And that is definitely my story. I am definitely sticking with it. Thank you, Jess, if you're still watching. Yeah, I did design it for people like you that started a business, that's successful, that's making money, and I want you, Jess, and people like you to continue to make money. And by converting to an S Corp, your chances of success have increased dramatically. So if you'd like to, connect with me, if you're one of the people that I've been calling out, and no offense, I respect your opinion, but, and I won't try to convince you, but I think that I yes, I am sticking to it. I think I owe it to people that I'm calling out to give them a chance to present their case if they want. And you can do that by going to timewithjoe.com. And if you're interested in talking to me about setting up your own S Corp, you can contact me. And it's not for me to pitch you, believe me. Just want the facts, and I will give you my honest opinion on what I think you should do. I had a woman call me this morning, just started a business, and based on the facts, I actually told her that she's better off waiting until next year to become a corporation, because she just didn't have, the facts didn't support it. And the last thing I would like to invite you to is Mastermind with Joe DiChiara. We are a small group of entrepreneurs. We're meeting twice a week. We do a lot of brainstorming, networking. We do training on how to start, build, and manage your own business successfully. So, Jess, thank you so much for attending. You get this information firsthand. I appreciate you sticking with me. I know there were some sticky times there. The people that you worked with are good people. I know both of them, and it wasn't I wasn't fighting with them. I was defending you. So that is my story. I'm sticking with it. God bless you, and good night. And I look forward to discussing entity creation some more the rest of the year. Thank you.